My friend, the 2026 draft is right around the corner, and Howie Roseman is already working behind the scenes on a move that could completely reshape the future of the Eagles. 9 picks available, an open competitive window, and a surgical trade opportunity that could give Philadelphia not just a great player this year, but extra ammunition for the 2027 draft, which is shaping up to be one of the richest in recent NFL history. And the question dominating conversations at the Jefferson Health Training Complex is this: should the Eagles trade away pick number 23 in the first round to stockpile even more assets for the future? I'm going to break down exactly what's being discussed, which teams are involved, what the Eagles would gain, what they would give up, and why this move might be the most Howie Roseman thing Howie Roseman has ever done. But first, if you're a die-hard Eagles fan who wants to stay ahead of everything happening with your team before anyone else does, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications right now, because the 2026 draft is less than 2 weeks away, and moves are happening at full speed. Here's the situation. The Eagles enter the 2026 draft with 9 picks, 1 in the first round, 1 in the second, 2 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, and 1 in the sixth. That's a powerful arsenal for a Super Bowl champion, still firmly inside its competitive window with Jalen Hurts leading the offense. But this year's draft is widely considered weak at the top. Todd McShay of ESPN pointed out that there are only 14 players with a true first-round profile in this class. That means the talent gap between picks 20 and 35 at many positions is minimal. And that's exactly where the logic behind this trade starts to make sense. The Eagles hold pick number 23 in the first round, and there is a team that may be very interested in jumping the line to move up to that spot: the Arizona Cardinals. Why? Because of one specific quarterback generating massive interest in this draft. We're talking about Ty Simpson, a quarterback viewed as far more than a backup option in this class. With teams like the New York Jets, the Arizona Cardinals, the Cleveland Browns, and the Pittsburgh Steelers all in the market for a new starting quarterback, the demand for a player of Ty Simpson's caliber creates a seller's market for any team willing to trade down. If the Jets take Simpson at pick 16, or the Steelers grab him 5 picks later at 21, the Eagles breathe easy. But if he's still available in the mid-20s, the Cardinals will very likely pick up the phone and dial a 215 area code to try to leapfrog the Browns at pick 24 and lock up the quarterback their new offensive system desperately needs. And if that call comes, Howie Roseman should pick up and say yes. Here's the thing. Back in 2025, the New York Giants made exactly this kind of move. They moved up from pick 34 to 25 and gave up picks 34, 99, and a 2026 third-round selection to jump 9 spots and secure Jackson Dart. Today, everyone is praising the Giants for that decision. And Howie Roseman, who understands the value of second- and third-round picks better than any other GM in the league, knows exactly what a similar package could mean for the Eagles. If the Cardinals offer pick 34, which would be the second pick of the second round, plus a second-round pick in the 2027 draft, Philadelphia would be moving from a single pick at the back end of the first round to 4 picks on day 2 of the 2026 draft, with 2 in the second round and 2 in the third. But the real prize would be that 2027 second-round pick, in a draft that is projected to feature half a dozen first-round quarterbacks, Jeremiah Smith eligible to declare, and a flood of premium talent that few recent drafts have been able to match. Can you see the reasoning here? The Eagles would be trading a pick at the back end of a weak first round for more selection power right now, and a valuable pick in a draft that could be historic. That's exactly the kind of long-term thinking Howie Roseman uses to keep the Eagles relevant and competitive year after year. Now you might ask, what do the Eagles actually lose by dropping from pick 23 to 34? The honest answer is, probably not much. Looking at the names available in the PFF mock draft simulator, the talent gap between those two spots is not dramatic at most positions. Players like Mason Thomas, a defensive tackle out of Oklahoma, TJ Parker and Peter Woods, both from Clemson, are still available in the second round and fit perfectly into the Eagles' defensive line philosophy. On offense, receivers like Casey Concepcion from Texas A&M and Denzel Boston from Washington, along with offensive linemen like Emmanuel Pregnon from Oregon and Caleb Lomu from Utah, would still be on the board to address needs across an offense with multiple open questions. The only real loss from dropping out of the first round is the 5th-year option, the contractual right to keep a player for a 5th season at a fixed value. That's a real consideration, especially for an edge rusher or a high-impact wide receiver. But Howie Roseman has proven time and again that he knows how to structure creative contracts and extend second-round players when they prove their value. Trading away a fifth-year option for one player, in exchange for more picks in this draft. Let's talk about the team's needs because that matters a great deal for understanding the context of this potential trade. The Eagles lost several important contributors this offseason. Jalen Phillips, who was brought in to be a key piece of the pass rush, Reed Blankenship, who started at safety, and Adoree Jackson, who held down a cornerback spot, are all gone. On top of that, there is real uncertainty surrounding A.J. Brown's role in new offensive coordinator Sean Mannion's system. Dallas Goedert's eventual retirement looms at tight end, and Lane Johnson won't play forever at right tackle. That's at least 5 positions of genuine need, and with 4 picks on day 2, Philadelphia would have 4 chances to hit on 2 or 3 of those critical areas. And that's exactly why Howie Roseman's argument for this trade makes so much sense. When you don't have one glaring need, when there's no obvious hole that one single player can fill, the smartest strategy is to maximize the number of quality selections you have. Every day 2 pick is an opportunity to add a cheap, young, high-ceiling player who can contribute for the next 4 or 5 seasons, while the Eagles manage the large contracts of Jalen Hurts, Jordan Davis, and others across the roster. There are other contextual factors worth paying attention to here. The 2027 quarterback class is the elephant in the room. When few teams are willing to move up for Fernando Mendoza in the top 5 because they're saving their picks for 2027, that tells you a great deal about how GMs around the league view the relative value of these 2 drafts. The Eagles, with Jalen Hurts firmly in control, don't need a quarterback right now. But they do need cheap talent at the edge, in the slot. A second-round pick in 2027 could become exactly the kind of player that sustains this window for another 2 or 3 years. With needs at wide receiver, tight end, edge rusher, offensive tackle, and more. And with a 2026 draft that doesn't feature a single player the Eagles absolutely must have at pick 23, the trade-down scenario with the Cardinals is more than just an intriguing idea. It may be the smartest move Howie Roseman makes during draft week. So here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. Given all of the Eagles' needs, do you want Howie Roseman to stay at pick 23 and take the best player available? Or do you make the trade down with the Cardinals, stack more picks, and lock in a second-round selection for 2027? What would be the best strategy to keep the Eagles at the top of the NFC in 2026 and beyond? Drop your opinion down below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later with the latest Eagles news straight to you.